Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Southern Comfort Podcast. I am your host, Keita King. Thank you for joining me for the 8th episode. It seems like just yesterday that we got started, but actually, it's been 8 weeks now. And I thank you for those of you who join every week, every Thursday. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. If this is your first time joining the Southern Comfort Podcast, don't let it be your last. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's Southern Comfort Podcast, Comfort with the K, of course, for Keita King. And you can catch up on the old episodes. And also make sure you follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. I try to share as much as I can right there on those social media platforms. And again, those of you who have transitioned from radio to podcasting with me, much love to you as well. I appreciate your emails, your inboxes, your DMs. I try to get around to responding to them all, but if I don't charge it to my heart, charge it to my time, not even necessarily my mind, but I will get around to you. Nonetheless, again, 8th episode. Wow, 8 is the number of new beginnings, and I will wrap season 1 with this special guest that I have. I'm always excited to talk to you guys. I'm always excited to bring on the people that I value. This one here hits a little different. And I know he doesn't need an introduction. I'm going to go ahead and bring him into the studio because he's waiting on us right now. So with no further ado, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Big Rob. What's going on?
What's up, my beautiful sister? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
KK is in the building, baby. KK is in the building.
What you know about that packing green?
Oh my goodness, girl, you're looking good. You're looking like collard greens, macaroni and cheese, fried chicken, candy yams.
All of that.
All things that the fat man likes. Please believe it.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. That gets me going. I'm charged up now for the rest of the year. I don't need no more. I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Well, I need you to not be ashamed of who God made you to be, girl, and stay charged up because you're doing beautiful things. Please believe.
Well, I appreciate that more than you could ever know. Honestly, I had planned on having some type of rhinestone somewhere. I didn't know where I was gonna put them, but I knew that you would go outdress me today. I just said, you know what? It is what it is.
I'm just representing my favorite guy, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. And for those who shall believe in him, you shall inherit the kingdom of God. It's called eternal life. So I ain't got too much bling on. You know what I mean? I'm just came to sit a spell and have some fun with one of my most favorite people in the world.
I appreciate you so much. Come on, John 3:16. You got the hat on for the blood of Jesus. Look here. We're about to have a good time.
Oh my goodness, man. Oh my goodness, man. All the glory goes to God. I'm just a kid from the projects.
Absolutely.
And God has allowed my dreams to come true. It is only his grace and mercy that I'm sitting here in front of you right now. Only his grace and mercy. Because me, myself, and I'd mess it up every time. Stole mama's car, went in a pocketbook, you know what I mean? Broke into houses, you know what I mean? Lied, schemed. I done did all that in my career. So, as a young man coming up, everything that you could do wrong, I probably did. So it's just his grace and mercy that I'm still sitting here.
And he covered you.
Amen. And for those of you guys out there who's watching, he'll cover you too. I'm not a preacher or nothing like that. Everybody knows. Just your friendly neighborhood, Big Rob. The best looking fat man in show business. How am I looking, Keita? The godfather of soul, James Brown, used to say, he said, man, make me want to jump back and kiss myself.
Kiss myself. Well, I want to say it in front of everybody. I appreciate you so much and coming straight from the heart because you really kind of took me under your wing and we talked for like an hour and you gave me so many nuggets and so much wisdom that you did not have to do, but you did. And you treated me as if I was family. You talked to me in a manner that was not condescending. It was just like, hey, I see what you're doing. Do this, do that. It runs so deep. There's no way that I could. I sat up there and took notes. So I want to say to you guys, this man right here, in an hour was more inspirational to me than most people, if anyone I can say in the industry. You know, Big Rob, this is an industry where it's kind of like get it how you live. Nobody, not I won't say nobody, but you don't really run into a lot of people who are willing to share the game and willing to share it
Yeah, well,
so
it's
freely.
well,
And you did that through.
I just say thank you to you, sister, and I thank you for, I'm not as young as I used to be, you know what I mean, but I just want to say thank you for doing what you felt led to do, which was sit down and take some notes. I was started out in the business with legendary guys like Boosie Collins and Roger Troutman. And I was a young buck coming up, and I had a whole lot of ideas, had a whole lot of attitude, and had a whole lot of opinion. And Roger Troutman used to take this thing. He would take his hand and just put it over my mouth. And he'd say, Negro, that's why you got two ears. Now shut up and learn something. And that's what I learned to do at a very early age, was listen to those who came before me. And now in
Right,
this day and age, they have something called "Don't son me, don't daughter me." In other words, don't treat me like you one of my parents. I'm one of your peers. But that's just
right,
some new lingo. The bottom line is, if you want to learn something, you might want to listen. You know, what I mean, you might want to listen. Run DMC had a song said, talking about you might as well get taught. So yeah, sharing the knowledge, and none of us can take this knowledge with us when that day is over with, and we going on out there to that dirt.
you're
The
right.
knowledge is just gone to the grave. So what you're trying to do for the culture of Southern soul music, not for any one specific artist, not for any one specific record company, but for the culture of Southern
Right,
soul music is great, is fantastic. And you've also been out here planting seeds and sowing seeds. You've been program director, music director, and it was your call on whether or not certain records got on the radio. And you've blessed people. And so I just wanted you to know that we acknowledge that as well. You know what I mean?
thank you.
When DJ Godfather was playing a record over in
Right.
Texarkana, you didn't say, "Where are you playing that crazy Big Rob record for?" Talking about them salt and pepper in the beard and all that. What is that? That didn't research right. We didn't get nothing from we didn't talk to the consultant, didn't approve that on my list. You let it fly, and because of you and people like you who take chances on us, it's a family togetherness. So thank you. You know what I mean? You've had
Absolutely.
my big brothers on here. You've had Calvin Richardson. You've had Sir Charles Jones. You know what I mean? You've had Jeter Jones. You've had so many fantastic artists. And I just think it's fantastic to be a part of your show. And I want to encourage you to keep it going, because who
Thank you.
knows? You could be who knows? You could be the next Oprah Winfrey. Who knows?
Hey,
We don't know, baby.
who knows? Who knows? But he
Who
knows.
knows?
So we're going to walk it out on the road with
Absolutely.
him.
Hey man,
That's
it's
what
His
we're
grace and
doing.
mercy. As my song say, if I get drunk tonight, somebody please make sure I get home. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
coming home, you done left that club after 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 7, 8 drinks, and you're tipsy, and you wake up in your bed the next morning and don't remember how you got home. It was him, babe.
That's
It was him.
exactly right. That is
You know what I'm
exactly right.
saying?
And you
It
know,
was him.
I know that speaking of radio and just speaking of God and his hand on your life, clearly from the beginning, it's amazing to me. For those of you who are, especially the Big Rob fans, we're gonna have a conversation and let you guys eavesdrop on it, because I think you're gonna really, really enjoy learning some of the things that you may not have necessarily known about the one, the only, the Big Rob himself. Now, how in the entire heck does an 11-year-old get on the radio station? So, I know as an adult, going on, not forget the PD part. Let's just talk about the on air talent piece. I know that was a
well,
challenge for me. How you got your
well,
start? No, tell it. Go ahead.
okay. Well, I'll tell you. First of all, the way I would have answered the question probably a year ago would I'd have told you the whole story. Now, once again, to me, it's just obvious. My sons and my daughters and my close relatives have been asking me to write a book.
Okay.
I never wanted to write the book because I was like, oh man, whatever. But I decided about a month and a half ago to start writing the book. Okay. And I'm gonna answer your question by saying this: that my answer would have been, well, I met this person, I did that, and the other. That first answer I'm gonna give is say, man, this is God. How does 11-year-old? Let me say this: I was raised on the same street in Cincinnati, Ohio, that the only black radio station, which was WCIN AM 1480. They made a lot of stars out there. James Brown made a lot of records in my hometown. It was not
Okay.
uncommon. I didn't see it, but for my big brothers and cousins, it was not it was not nothing new that James Brown may just come riding down the street that day with his new record to take to the radio station. Of course, all the kids would gather around him in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
And he would see a little boy with some Converses on that had holes in them, or a little fella who had on Pro Kids or Pro 500s, which was not Converses. They was like what we call buddies. And James Brown would say, "Man, tell your mama meet me down at Ben's downtown tomorrow, and I'm gonna buy all y'all some new sneakers." So I grew up in a
Okay.
community where the black radio station was at. I also grew up in the community where Mr. Sonny Burns, who owned the radio station at the time, would allow us kids to play in the parking lot and the front yard of the radio station. So
Okay.
being around it was normal to me. My uncle and my cousins, they were CB radio enthusiasts back in that day. So they
Mhm.
always had these microphones, breaker, 19, 10, 4, and I wanted to be like them. And then my cousin
Yeah.
Uncle Wayne gave me a tape recorder, and the next thing I know, I was walking around interviewing people like you're interviewing me now. But I would be at the family reunion, or I would be at Sunday after dinner on Saturday night when everybody was drinking a little something brown out the glass, listening to Johnny Taylor and Bobby Womack and Bill Withers in there. So it was just
Yeah.
natural for me. And everybody
Yeah.
knows I'm a blabbermouth. I got way too much rap. So, you know what I mean? It was all good. And so I walked into the radio station. After
Mhm.
years of kind of going, I would ride my bike down. There was a gentleman named Everett Cork who was at the
Mhm.
radio station WCIN, and I would be playing on my daily thing. I'd play, and then I'd go around the back to the radio station like most of the kids in the neighborhood. And I would ask him a million questions. Man, who made that record? Is KC and Sunshine Band now? They sound black, but is they white, man? Man, is that really true, man? Man, what you think about the Jacksons 5 leaving Motown? And then he would just stop and say, "Man, you little young ass kid, like you, 9 years old, what you know about some Jackson 5 leaving Motown? How you know about that?" Well, man, I
Right.
read it right on magazine, man. That Jermaine, he didn't go with him, right? And so at the end result of it, he became my friend, and so he would show me stuff while he. Now this is why he's on air. I'd be talking to him through a black window of the radio station, and he would be putting in carts and queuing up records and stuff, and it was just my life passion.
Old
So
school
once I got
cards.
became, you remember them carts, right?
I never
And
worked
so
with cards, but
okay,
I
well
do.
I
I
did.
do know about them.
Yeah, I did. And so eventually I walked into a radio station called WAIF FM 88.3 in Cincinnati,
Okay.
Ohio. And I got under the wing of a gentleman by the name of Mr. Tom Knox, who was a legend in our city. He also was a mailman. So he was like folks, he delivered people's mail, but he also was on that radio station I was telling you about. After he left that, he still had so much passion for it. He took all his money and his energy and invested in taking his basement of his whole house. Okay, and he turned it into an on-air radio station. And inside this basement, he had turntables, cart machines, everything that you would need to learn the craft of
Mhm.
radio. And so I
Mhm.
enrolled into his program. And boy, he was a man, he was a disciplinarian. And there wasn't no Big Rob. My name is Robert. Now, Robert,
Robert.
you say it like this. That's right. You say it like this, Robert. You don't say it that way. Hold on now. And then he taught me the skill of
Mhm.
radio, how to read PSAs, how to pronunciate, how to speak from the diaphragm,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? How to cue a record up, how not to cue a record up, how to keep things flowing. So I learned that at a very, very early age. And much love to Mr. Tom Knox and the Radio Workshop family. Because, man, when I
Yeah.
think about it, I was the baby.
Yeah.
Like, like they would take me home, and they would take me home, and okay, Miss Smith, your son is back now, and then I met this guy named the Honey Dripper, and everything that Mr. Knox told me, I took all that stuff, balled it up, put it in a trash bag, and threw it out the window because Mr. Honey Dripper, he was a different kind of DJ. He was the kind of DJ that when he played records in the middle of the record, he'd just cut the record off. That's right, baby. I need a lady right now to bring me a fish dinner and some collard greens
He had
right
a
now here
different
to the radio
style.
station. Right. And so,
Mhm.
but the Honey Dripper got instant, like the way Mr. Knox taught me the book way to do it. Honey Dripper taught me the street way to do it. And so I became known as the sugar daddy from Cincinnati, and I was able to mix both of them by the time I was 13, half 14 years old. I was a beast in my city. You know what I mean? I was breaking records and doing all kinds of stuff. Didn't get no money, didn't know nothing about no money. Didn't know nothing about that. My parents, they didn't know. Everybody was just happy seeing me on the radio. Didn't even know you were supposed to get
Yeah.
paid for it. And I can't tell you, and that was also the beginning. That was right as we went from the late 70s into the 80s, 81,
Mhm.
82, 83, 84. So records by Grandmaster Flash, Houdini, Egyptian Lover, Wiki, 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 Shut Up, Planet Rock, What
And
People
was
Do for
anybody even
Money.
playing rap at that time like that? Like,
No,
did
no,
you hear
no,
a lot of that?
no, nobody in my city was playing those records on the radio but me. And I didn't
Okay.
realize all that. I didn't realize all that till about 5 years ago. A young man did a documentary about the Cincinnati hip hop thing. And
Okay.
when he did it, he said, man, I talked to everybody and I'm tracing it back to its beginnings. And everybody said, hey, man, you got to talk to a guy named Sugar Daddy if you can find him. So one day my phone rings and it's a young man on the phone. Well, first it was a young lady named Il Mill. She's a rapper. She called me up and said, hello, is this Big Rob? I said, yes. She said, I'm trying to see if you can help me find an old friend of yours. And I said, well, who are you looking for? And she said, I'm looking for the Sugar Daddy from Cincinnati. Do you know him or do you remember him? I said, yeah, that's the only man I ever slept with in my life. I said, I sleep with him every night. You know what I mean? And she said, wow. And she said, is this really you? And yeah, because my life, I've been blessed. That was my childhood, right? Now,
Right,
once I
right.
become a teen, and then also during that childhood of those days, I'm starting meeting good friends like Bootsy Collins, Roger Troutman, Midnight Star, all those
Mhm.
guys. So
Right.
when I became
So
an
let's
adult,
so let's talk about that. I don't know what that is that just started playing.
oh, that's just you know what that sound like when I start when I
I'm sorry.
that's okay when I start talking about
Did
Wiki
you
Wiki
hear
Wiki
that?
and jam on it. Yeah,
This,
it sound like that old, it used to be a video game we used to put quarters in called Space Invaders. I thought you was over there playing Gallagher's Miss Pac-Man or something for a second.
I don't know if something just accidentally fired off or if I hit something, but nonetheless, let's talk about that. I
Hmm.
know you took you gleaned everything from the greats in your city, and you started your own show. Then you took it to another level and decided to start interviewing the Boosie Collins, the Midnight
Yes,
Stars, the
yes,
Roger Troutmans, the late great. And from that point, I think what the maybe the early '80s, things
yes.
really started to take off for you because Roger, from my understanding, kind of took you under his wing. I think you started out as his driver, right?
Right, but before Roger, before that,
Okay.
I've acknowledged Bootsy Collins
Mm-hmm.
and his brother Phelps Catfish Collins because before I
Okay.
was able, now I met all these guys around the same time and became friends and buddies with them, and would go
Mm-hmm.
in, and they had this big recording studio that everybody recorded at in my hometown. Okay,
Okay.
and so I would hang out down there, like skip school to go down and hang out. So to go in
Mm-hmm.
there, and I would go sit in the corner and watch those guys making records, whether it was Bootsy making a record called Body Slam or Roger, putting the finishing touches on Let Me See You Moving on the Dance Floor or, all those things. And
Yeah.
so I would be sitting there watching those guys make records, just being a kid. And they would let me in because I was a DJ, right?
And
And
they
then,
were
I
like
always
20
had,
years older than you, right?
well, I thought so at the time. But what I really
Okay.
found out is those guys were probably about 15 to 16 years older than me. And
Okay.
also that they had started so young. Like when Bootsy first started playing bass for James Brown, he was only 17 years old. So, when
Oh,
he started learning how to play the bass, he was 9, 10, 11 years old too. Roger had been
wow.
playing the guitar when he was 4 or 5 years old. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So when this
Mm-hmm.
kid came up to them at 11 or 12, 12, 13, maybe 13 and a half years old by then, they didn't treat me like a kid. They took me
Mm-hmm.
seriously
Yeah.
because maybe somebody didn't take them so seriously, or maybe, what I mean, and then, like I said, I had done all my research. I'd done
Mm-hmm.
all my research. So, but anyway, with Bootsy and Catfish, I was with them. We had started a little local band in Cincinnati, Ohio called Microwave. And we were
Microwave?
wait. Michael, it's a good friend of mine. His name is Michael
Okay.
Lane, but
Mhm.
his real name is Michael Lane, but we call him Mico, Mico Wave. And
Okay.
we were waiting, trying to get a record deal, and we just wanted to be famous. This is back about during that time. I mean, Prince had out. Prince was hot. Rick James. This is the early '80s. From the days, the Purple Rain days, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but anyway, once I got old enough to go on the road, I'd been knowing Roger for many, many years by then, him and his brothers. But once I got old enough to go on the road, and I talk about this in my book, but I won't spoil it all for you. But it was just a godsend. He just told me, "Hey, man, you need to come get a job." And I know you out here kind of living pillar to post, and you ain't got nothing going on for yourself, even though you out here looking, Negro, like you winning. You really ain't winning, little bruh. So come on over here and holler at me so I can help you. And it was
Mm-hmm.
a lot of tragedy that happened in my life during that time, which all will be in the book. And so eventually I left my hometown of Cincinnati. And yes, I started working with the Zap Band. And one of the first things Roger did is he said, "Man, you got to go get your chauffeur's license because you're going to be my chauffeur now." And he gave me the keys to this big old long white Cadillac. And I couldn't turn that thing around. I could go forward. I knew how to drive. And then after he gave me the keys, then he walked away and then stopped in the middle of the parking lot and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, Negro, don't wreck my shit." I was like,
Not
"Oh, okay."
Negro.
Well, he didn't. Let me say this: he didn't say Negro either. You know what I
I
mean? He
got
tried
you.
to keep it, yeah, but he was like, "Don't tear my shit up, youngster." And
Right. Wow.
so there it was, and that's where it started. And I was, man, ecstatic because I'm getting to hang out with one of my heroes. I get to hang out with the man that
Mhm.
made Computer Love. And at this
Yeah.
time, when as I'm driving him back and forth to the studio every day, the song he was currently working on right then was "I Want to Be Your Man." So everybody knows that
Mhm.
came out to be a
Favorite.
classic. He had just finished up
Mhm.
recording and producing and discovering Shirley Murdoch with "As We Lay." Like I say, but
Mhm.
all them great Zap records, man. You know what I mean? Mo Bounce Now's Grapevine. I heard it. I heard it through the grapevine. Do I Did It? So Rough, So Tough, Heartbreaker.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Just so many great records. And man, he's just a monumentally great human being. And
Yeah.
the purpose, both of my big brothers, both Roger and Bootsy, have served in my life. It just has been words can't describe it.
Mhm.
They fought me and chiseled me into being a better person.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I was just a kid from the projects. You understand what I'm saying? But they chiseled me
Mhm.
into being a better person. No, man, you ain't gonna walk around with your pants falling up. You gonna put this suit and tie on. I remember one night we was at a club in Cincinnati called Mr. Kelly's, and Bootsy was having a band meeting with us. And in the middle of the meeting, he just stopped and talked. And he looked over at me. He snatched me up by my shirt. Said, "Man, fix your stuff. What are you doing, man? You run around here looking like you crazy, man. Get yourself together, man. Run around here looking like a bum." But it was that big brotherly love that
Yeah.
I needed. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Man, don't never let
Mhm.
me catch you out without no suit and tie on. Don't, you know what I mean? No, man, we doing business. And that look up to those guys and love
Mhm.
them for being the superstars they were, but then also for them to be my friends and my family, you know what I mean, was
Right.
just monumental. And like I say, it changed the whole trajectory.
Right. And I would venture to think that is the bulk of the reason you developed into this artist who is you not gonna hit the stage not decked down to the T. You're not gonna hit the stage without a suit on, without your hat, your glasses. Matter of fact,
I'm gonna be the best looking fat man in show business. And where I really got that from, first and foremost, was Bootsy because that morning that he came to the radio station,
uh-huh.
I'm a Jackson 5 fanatic. I own all kind of records, and I was probably almost 14 years old that morning. Bootsy came to the radio station at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, do the interview,
Hmm.
and he looked just like he looked on the album cover. Rhinestones, star-shaped glasses, and that was the
Yeah,
day I learned what a superstar is.
that was the day.
Yeah,
That
and
even before you
yeah,
were called Big Rob, that was the day you became Big Rob.
yeah,
The
oh yeah, yeah, because
exterior Big Rob
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, because at that point, you know, what I mean, after that interview, I started going getting glitter and getting sunglasses, trying to put stars on there. Because first of all, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So the
You hear
first
me?
thing I did is I didn't have no character myself, so I just started trying to be, yeah, baby, I want to be his character, baby, Baba, yeah, but do Baba, right? I wanted to be him. You see what I'm saying? And then I
Yeah.
learned to mix that character in with what Roger was doing, and you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But once again, I'm just happy being a DJ. Not
Mhm.
really trying to be an entertainer. I'm a
Mhm.
songwriter back in those days. I'm trying to rap and, I want to be like Run DMC. I want to be like Curtis Blow, Spoonie G. I want to be like all them guys that was out at the time with the rap thing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But not an entertainer. And eventually Roger Troutman, he put a stop to me. The idea of me not being an entertainer. Nah, he saw something that changed all of that. And I wasn't trying to do this. I'm just giving it to you up close and personal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I probably never even talked about his interviews, but I was not trying to do that. I was just happy handing that man his guitar, driving him around, working in the studio with him, picking up his food, taking his kids back and forth to school, and being his right hand man. That's all I was trying to do. I was
You were
not
good with
trying to
that.
be on. I was good, making sure his voice boxes and all his stuff were. I was never trying to be on no stage. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was the guy who set the stage up for you. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure your stuff is right. And I was good with that. And Roger
Mm-hmm.
said, nah, 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 nah. Things is going to change around here. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to come on stage this year. Him and Dale DeGroat, my big brother, who's the music director of Zap Band, they decided that I was going to be in the band as a rapper. And
Oh,
I
okay.
bet,
Okay.
yeah, and I begged and pleaded, please, man, no, I don't want to do it. I cried, and Roger's direct quote was, I leave most of it for in the book, but his direct quote was, one night I was standing in the dressing room, and he was coming towards me, towards the dressing room. He said, why are you in here? Because he was coming to change clothes, and I'm supposed to be on stage. And I said, man, I don't want to go out there. He said, you got a choice, and you better choose quick. Either you going to go out there and let them people in the audience whoop your ass, or you staying here, I'm definitely going to whoop your ass. And I thought about
Point
getting
blank
away from them
period.
punches. And he wasn't a violent guy. So for him to say that, I mean, this guy was like, he was the most silliest guy in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, get out of here. And he hollered at me and screamed at me. So I ran on stage and just kept on. And he wouldn't let me the
Wow.
next night, the next night, the next night, And, but that little segment of area where we come from, I also had to give a
Mhm.
special shout out to a guy by the name of Leroy Sugarfoot Bonner. And if you
Leroy.
don't know who that is,
Mm-mm.
Sugarfoot Bonner.
Okay.
You may not know who that is, but your fans will know. But let me tell you who that is. There's a group from our area called the Ohio Players,
Oh, I know who the Ohio players are. Okay.
and Sugarfoot was the guy who was the lead singer and the lead guitarist of the band. So when you hear, all those great records, Skin Tight Young
Skin
Man,
tight.
Band Miss Ass, that's him. He
Yeah.
sang every hit record the Ohio Players ever had.
Shut
Skin Tight,
up.
Fire, Sweet Sticky Thing, Love Roller Coaster, Coochie
Yeah.
Coo, all those records, right? And he
Okay.
was the kind of guy who he had taught Roger how to play the harmonica and the guitar. He taught
Mm-hmm.
Bootsy a lot of things about playing the instruments. He taught the guys from Lakeside, just all kinds of bands from our area.
Mm-hmm.
When they was young bucks coming up, he was the guy that they all looked up to. And
Okay.
years later, he would come spend a lot of time and sit in the studio with me because I wasn't trying
Mm-hmm.
to sing no songs. Even though once
Mm-hmm.
I became an entertainer, became the Big Rob, I was still rapping and doing all kind of stuff, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Sugarfoot heard this one specific song and he demanded that I sing it. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
man, but I ain't no singer. He said, look, Jack, you gonna sing this one. And I said, well, okay, man, because you got platinum plaques on the wall, and I'm just trying to get there. If you think it's gonna be okay, I'll try it because you believe so
Right.
much in it. And that song turned out to be a song called "Keep on Swinging," which DJ Godfather down there plays. This one here is for my folk in the South, especially them ladies with that gold in your mouth. Keep on swinging till your
Yeah.
back is so. And so yeah, but special shout out to him because he's another one of those guys. It's taken a whole nation and a whole group of people from my family, my friends, even my enemies to get me sitting here right here today.
I like that. I love that because I believe it takes all of the above that you just mentioned,
Yes,
all strategically placed in your life to play their specific role for a reason along your journey, and to get you to where you. I mean, because you started as a DJ. You developed. You knew how to capitalize on opportunities. I always say
yes,
opportunity plus preparation equals success. So clearly, you knew how to. You knew you had a burning to learn. The people were planted in your life to plant those seeds, and you capitalized on it. So tell me, at what point after you've been the chauffeur, you've taken the kids to school, you've learned from the Boosie Collins, you've been reprimanded, so to speak, from your superiors. At what point did you decide, I'm taking the stage, I am going to be an entertainer, and hell, I'm Big Rob?
Mm, that's a great question. I don't think I've ever really decided that. It's just kind of
Okay.
by default. Like, I mean, everybody knows that when it comes time to go get that stage or go make a record, I'm gonna give my best. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess once it started coming together, one inspirational thing was, so I'm in the Zap band now. Now keep in mind, I was on the road with Zap as a
Mhm.
road crew guy and Rogers' assistant for 7 years
Mhm.
before I ever really hit the stage like that. So
Okay.
now I'm in the stage. Our manager, his name was Larry Troutman, Rogers' big brother. And Larry Troutman was really everybody's boss. He said, "Hey man, they tell me you gonna be in the band this year." And I'm like, yeah, that's what they tell me too. He said, "Okay, man, this is what I want you to do." And I'm like, "Okay, what you want me to do?" He said, "I want you, that, because also at Troutman Enterprise, we have a construction company. So we also build houses and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
Brothers
okay.
way ahead of their time, man, way ahead of their time. The ideas that
Mhm.
those guys had still have not been implemented by everybody. But anyway, he said, "Man, you know them boots you wear on construction?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I want you to go on stage with them on and a G string." And I said, "Huh?" He said, "Yeah, just the construction." And this guy, it's like, I mean, he's Larry was like a cross between, man, in modern day times, Suge Knight, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and your big brother
Damn.
all in one. You know what I mean? He was a great guy and a great character, but we love him. And, what I mean? But into the whole process of it, I said, "What? Yeah, man, that's all you got to do. I'm telling you." And he used to be in the band. He used to
Okay.
be, he used to be in the band with his brother. So he was one of the founding members of Zap, and he also was the head lyricist. So all these great songs like "I Want to Be Your Man," "As We Lay," "It's Gonna Be All
Mhm.
Right," "Dance." So he wrote the lyrics to all these songs. So he knew what he was
Gotcha.
talking about. And
Mhm.
dude said, "Go on stage with these construction boots on and a G string."
Did you do
I
it?
wouldn't even wear. No, not at first.
Okay.
Not at first, but I went on stage and got me a little fluffy wig and tried to come out there. And people are like, I'm like, okay. And, and in my mind, and I'm begging Roger all the time, "Man, can I please not go out there tonight? Please." "No, no,
Yeah.
you going out there again. You going again. You going again." And finally, we got to Germany. We used to go to Germany every year for
Mhm.
like, 6 or 7 years, man. I mean, we would go to Germany every year and we would do like all these shows and play all the military bases. And so we were over there. And finally, one night I had asked my wife, because to me, my part is failing. So I asked my wife, I said, "Baby, can you just take a pair of little BVD underwear and just put a little silver sequin on the front of them?" And
Oh
she
my.
did. And I had them in my bag probably for about 3 or 4 months, right? Hoping all the while
Uh-huh.
that these guys would not keep making me go out here. Night
Right.
after night. "No, you going out there." Well, I go out there, and, man, I knock the mic stands down. All Raj would say is, "Well, try not to knock them down tomorrow, but you're going again." I
Mhm.
mess up the words purposely. Oh, yeah, okay. I used to do my first one was, "Don't call it a comeback. I've been in for years, rocking my peers, putting suckers in fear, making tears rain down like a monsoon. Listen to the bass go boom. Mama said knock you out. I'm
And
going." That was the first one I
mhm.
did. And after that,
Yeah.
I used to do Will Smith, "You Can Ring My Bell," and all these
Mhm.
songs. Anyway, this one specific night at some military base in Germany, I can't remember which one, I was just fed up. I know how I get these guys to let me get out the band and just go back to doing what I was doing and stay in my comfort zone. So I put them little BVDs on. I said, I
You
know
put
one day
what on? Oh, the little.
I put my little underwear on that my wife made for me. I said, "Okay, I got you tonight, partner. I know how to get out this. Because you ain't gonna let me out. You ain't gonna let me quit unless I do something outrageous."
Mhm.
So I went up, come around the corner when it came time to do that rap with them little BVDs on, and just stood there and just shook my stomach. Miss
No,
Keita, when
you
I did
didn't.
that, Miss Keita, when I did that, the drummer stopped drumming, the bass player stopped bass playing, the guitar player, who's my cousin, stopped guitar. The whole
I'm
band,
sure.
the whole band is doing just what you doing, and the people in the audience done went ape crazy.
Yeah.
right? Roger was back there changing clothes. So and I got an attitude. I'm like, yeah, now can I get out and stop doing this when I walk past him? Because I'm getting ready to leave the stage and he's coming on. As I walk past him, he doubles over. What did you got on? As soon as the show was over with, meeting. He said, come here, we got a meeting. I said, what? You know what this guy says to me? Whatever
What'd he
you
say?
did tonight, whatever you did tonight, I hope you remember, because you better do the same exact thing tonight,
Yes,
tomorrow
you
night.
did.
I'm like,
Well,
damn, man, what am I going to have to do to get out of this? But
mm,
eventually, and so then after that, and I started learning, he gave me a lot of freedom, and the Zap fans were always more than courteous and gracious to me. So that part became a
mhm,
big part of the show. And of course, we redefined it from the G string. My sister, Shirley Murdoch, we were in Los Angeles at the Roxy one night, which is a big world famous place. And we had the record company president, Mr. Ernest Singleton, and all them. They were from Warner Brothers Records. They were all in the audience. And Roger said, hey, man, I
mhm.
can't have you out there mooning. That's how we all get a paycheck. You out there shake, because I got the G string
Yeah,
on, right? The back of was cut out like Prince.
yeah.
And so Shirley Murdoch pulled me off to the side and said, well, baby, what if we make a diaper? And I said, okay, I'm game with that. She showed me how to make the first diaper. I did that, put that on. That part was in the show until the day I
Like
left the
George
Zap
Clinton
band.
diaper?
Yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't George. Well, George couldn't wore it, but the guy who really wore it every night, his name was Mr. Gary Scheider, Star
Okay.
Child, who also was a good friend and one of our legendary heroes out here. But yeah, yeah. And so we kind
Wow.
of, we upgraded to the diaper and then I started shooting silly string and then I started settling in. So I guess that's probably when I used to call myself Robbermania, like Hulkamania. I called
Yeah.
myself Robbermania. But at the end of the night, I wanted everybody to say, "Hey, Robbermania, how you doing?" People would just say, "Hey, big boy, big Rob boy, Rob, big man." So the
Yeah.
name the people gave me was Big Rob.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was one that clearly you earned the
Yes,
people
yes, yeah.
the people.
And by then, let me say this: when I came around, I'm not gonna lie, I can't lie, I got to keep it 100. When I came around that corner that night in Germany, and the way them people screamed, I was addicted then. I was
Yeah.
that was I was addicted then. Whatever I had struck emotion. Now,
Hmm.
looking back, and I talk about it in my book, I can also remember being a little bitty kid and doing crazy stuff like that too, and
Hmm.
everybody in my family screaming. So you know what I mean. But yeah, so they messed around, and he stuck in there with me until I learned how to get it right, and then after that, smooth sailing, baby. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you this, and not to be on a low note, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you.
Mm-hmm.
I know we lost him. Was it 99, 1999?
April 25th, 1999.
April. Okay, April 25th, 1999.
Mm-hmm.
How take us to the moment. I think you guys may have had a show that night. I don't remember, but take us to the moment that you found out because this man meant a lot to you. He'd been a lot to you. What was
Well,
that?
let,
What
let,
was
let,
that
let,
moment
let,
like?
let,
And were
let,
you
let, let,
able to
let,
move
let,
forward?
let me
I'm
say this:
sorry.
the more you talk about it, the harder it is for me to explain it. But because I'm starting to think,
Okay.
and but let me say this. So first of all, Roger Troutman was murdered tragically by his brother Larry Troutman
Hmm.
in a murder suicide. Okay,
Hmm.
so on that day, April 25th, 1999, I didn't lose one person that I loved. I lost two. I didn't lose one person who I looked up to. I lost two. You
Gotcha.
got me? And their mother decided that the best thing for her to survive this horrendous loss and to get through whatever it was she was going to have to do to get through this was to bury both of her sons together. So I was not a pallbearer for one casket. I was a pallbearer for both caskets. Okay. And losing both of those guys, who both have different meanings in different parts of my heart, was horrendous, tragic, heartbreaking, something that you'll never forget. And I don't think anything that you ever actually get healed for. You know what I'm saying? You just learn to press on, as so many of us who've had to bury so many people that we love do. You never really forget about it. You know, you just press on. You just press through. At the same time, I knew that both of those guys believed in me 1,000%. So it was then up to me to not let their deaths be in vain. Specifically, Roger, right? Not let his
Mhm.
deaths be in vain by pressing on to be the best I could be.
Mhm.
So since that day to this day, I made 31 albums, shot 25 music videos, stayed in the band for another 10 or 12 years after we lost him, but then went on and, been blessed to have enough success. My son
Mhm.
is my drummer. My other son designs all my album covers. My
Yeah.
wife went from making outfits for the Zap band and, going through that whole thing with me to making outfits for me and my band, the Problem Solvers. My daughter puts the rhinestones on these glasses. So I
Mhm.
live each day in a tribute to my loved ones.
Mhm.
If that
Okay.
answers your question. And
Yeah.
let me say this, and so a lot of that stuff I don't necessarily talk about. And it's not that I'm afraid or ashamed to talk about it. It's just that it was so many great things that happened. Like during that time period, say from 1990 when I joined the band on the stage, or when I don't know, maybe I wasn't in, maybe it wasn't. I can't remember when I joined exactly because I was been on the road since 1987 as a member of the whole
Mhm.
thing. So maybe it wasn't 7 years now looking back. Maybe I was on the road for 3.5 or 4 years before I started performing in the band. But
Okay.
during that time period, what I mean, we still, we came out with something called Zapp and Roger, All the Greatest Hits, which is
Okay.
a quintessential record that, it kind of culminates all the great hits, the More Bounces, Grapevines, Do What I Did Is, So Rough, So Tough, Do It, Roger, Do It. And then Roger put together a couple new songs to include on there, like Slow and Easy is the Way I Want to Love You Tonight. That record came out and went double platinum on the hit. So we're in now, keep in mind, when you got a double platinum record, you play, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You're never home, right? And then on the heels of that, Roger went to the studio with Dr. Dre, and they came up with a thing called California Love, right? So next thing we know, you know what I mean? So next thing I know, I'm at the show and there's Tupac standing right there. Hey Rod, let me
Mhm.
let me let me do my verse. So I'm handing him the microphone. You follow what I'm saying? And just
Mhm.
so all that, so it was a very, very high point for us. We sold probably about 3 million records real quickly, and constantly played and performed. And then California Love, when he did that with them, man, they went to the stratosphere. I think they sold about 15 million records on that. And so we
Yeah.
constantly played and performed. Then next thing we know, we on Soul Train. Next thing we on Aruba. We went to Aruba with Sinbad. And so anybody ever goes and watches the Zapp and Rogers special on Sinbad's thing, Aruba, that's me coming out talking about God, talking about Jesus with the red and black outfit on. You know what I mean? So all of that. Now all that, then you wake up on this Sunday morning and these guys are tragically gone. And the
Wow.
biggest message I can give everybody out there in our communities is mental illness is real.
Mm.
Okay? I'm not saying that somebody was mentally ill, but obviously to hurt your brother like that, hurt yourself, you was going through something,
Right.
right? And
Right.
suicide is real. Depression is
Mhm.
real. There's stuff that we deal with and we see the signs in our communities every day. And we don't necessarily, we just make excuses for it. Oh man, why Willie drink so much? Oh, Willie drank so much because he crazy, right? No, Willie
Right.
might be going through something, man. Somebody might have hurt Willie. Willie may not know how to express himself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
with that, and so that was a learning thing because I do know that Larry Troutman was a very, very brilliant guy in lots of ways. I don't know what made him hurt his brother like that and what
Mhm.
made him hurt himself like that. But I learned a lot from that. That was one of the biggest messages I got is that no matter how strong you are, we all, once again, we all have a breaking point.
No, you're exactly right. We absolutely do. And unfortunately for with our community, it's kind of taboo to talk about it. It's not something that we've done so well at sweeping things underneath the rug and allowing just generation after generational curses, you may as well say, to continue to live on. But yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it was tragic. However, I'm thankful for, and I know you are as well, that you got an opportunity to glean what everything you did from these guys. And sounds like to me, especially your younger years, those were some of your best moments and teaching lessons and learning lessons was from the two of them. So may they rest in peace.
Amen.
I'm gonna move
Amen. And then on the heels of that, after losing those guys, being lost and confused and just, just walking around just in a daze,
on.
in a daze. And then you still, I'm a husband, I'm a father.
Hmm.
So, you know what I mean? So just walking around in a daze, I was blessed to meet a gentleman by the name of Mel Waiters, who was a God-fearing man who had the heart of Christ. And I walked up to him at one of our shows as we was trying to, just find some work. And some of the promoters just were not really. Life is amazing. I have to address this because I can. Um, Man, you can be going smooth and everything be beautiful, and you hit a couple of bumps and people will just throw you away. So those times after Roger was gone, even though we had the most incredible show and one of the most baddest shows of any funk group ever in the history of music, and the Zap Band still does. If you ever get a chance, you see that four-letter word ZAPP. I guarantee you're gonna go in there. You're gonna have a hell of a time because that's a great, fantastic show. That's the way we were all raised up, and my brothers have done a fantastic job of keeping it going throughout these years. Right?
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
were doing the show. Mel Waiters was opening up with us, and he just had a song he just dropped called "Hole in the Wall." I said, "Hey, man, I do a little remixing, a little beat making. Man, can we collab a little bit?" He looked at me, he said, "Man, you Roger Troutman's guy." He said, "Man, if you was good enough to work with Roger Troutman, I know damn well you good enough to work with me. What time we
Right.
go into the studio?"
Right.
And so that uplifted me up out the muck and mire. And then he took me to Malaco Records, where I met Tommy Couch Jr. and all these famous people. And I got to go and record in the same studio that Johnny Taylor and Shirley Brown and Z.Z. Hill and Lil
Mhm.
Milton and Marvin Cease.
The
I got to sit in the
legends.
same, man, I got to sit there and turn the knobs on the same studio board that they had made cheating in the next room, Mr. Big Stuff, Down Home Blues. And that was on the weekends. During the week, they also was the Malaco's the home of gospel music. So the Williams brothers and oh my goodness, Mississippi Mass, the Truthettes with
Oh.
peanut butter and jelly. I'd rather have peanut butter and jelly, right? You know what I mean? All that. So I got to
Mhm.
sit there and work in the studio. And that was another pinnacle moment for me when I did a record with Mel Waiters called the Hole in the Wall Remix. Because then at that point, I was no longer living. I was, because before that, I'm just like, hey, man, whatever Rod say. Now I'm becoming
Mhm.
an artist in my own right, I guess. It's kind
Mhm.
of, and that brother there, Mel Waiters, uh, he helped so many of us. Helped so
Mhm.
many of us. I'm saying that gentleman there, I know for a fact that myself, TK Soul, Omar Cunningham, Sir Charles Jones, LJ Eccles, I know we all, and more, we all went to his house. He was the kind of guy that would give you some gas money to get to his house. Then he'd give you
Yeah.
some gas money to get home. He'd go
Yeah.
in his closet and say, "Big baby, the other day I bought this hat. It don't fit because it ain't my size, it's yours. Here, man, take this drum machine and go see what you can do with it."
Mhm.
Right?
Wow.
And so
Mhm.
he believed in paying it forward. Each one of my kids probably got a BlackBerry or an iPad or a laptop or something where he just said, "Hey, baby, here, take this. This is from Uncle Mel." So he believed in spreading that love. And that's certainly
Right.
what he did for me. So he came in at one of the weakest times of my life and
Mhm.
encouraged me. And I know he was a godsend.
Mhm. Would you say that, and being from Cincinnati, Ohio, would you say that that is kind of when your Southern Soul movement started? Like, is that where the energy from Southern Soul came from? Okay.
Absolutely. But once again, you
Okay.
got to watch God. See, God is an amazing guy. Like, I'll tell you, there was a gentleman who worked with us in the Zap Band. Okay. His name was Mr.
Mhm.
Horace Chisholm, and he was from Detroit, Michigan. He's really from Alabama. He's from Detroit. And I first met him, that I remember meeting him at the studio at Troutman Enterprise.
Okay.
Right? And so the Troutman brothers had built a studio. They had three studios. It's called Troutman Sound Lab Studio, well, A and B, and then we had a rehearsal hall. And I met Mr. Chisholm there. And when I met Mr. Chisholm looked at me one day. He said, "Man, I know you." I said, "Sir, no, sir, I ain't never met you." I was, 18 and a half at the time, right? He said, "No, man,
Mhm.
you Bootsy's guy." And so I stopped. I said, well, yeah, I did work with Boots. He said, yeah, man, don't you remember you guys came to Detroit? So I had met this man, didn't even know him. We didn't even
Mm-hmm.
remember meeting him, right? Years later, we became great friends and all this stuff. So one day he stops by my house and he said, man, because this was frequent. What you working on? What you working on? I was putting together finishing touches on a record by my group called The Problem Solvers. I decided I was going to start me a Southern Soul group. And they had a
Uh-huh.
song called The Same Thing It Took. It had the music from a song called Running Out of Lies by Johnny Taylor. So I
Mm-hmm.
started playing this record from Mr. Chisholm. Mr. Chisholm stopped and said, hold it, stop. And he pulls out his cell phone. And he calls up his best friend in the world, which was a gentleman by the name of Don Davis, who I kind of had met before from Mr. Chisholm. And he
Mm-hmm.
held the phone up to the speakers. Don Davis said, young man, you know where to find me at tomorrow, right? I said, where? He said, I'll be at my office. You come to my office at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I left Ohio and went to Detroit, Michigan, because Mr. Don Davis, he owned a bank and it was almost a gazillionaire at this point, but he
Mm-hmm.
was the original writer and producer of Running Out of Lies.
Really?
Yes, I hadn't even known that. I mean, I guess I knew it, but I hadn't paid any attention to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I got up there, he said, hey, man, now what you doing with my records? What you doing with my records? He was a mentor. Now, of course, the man, he owned a big bank. He owned one of the biggest banks
Mm-hmm.
in Detroit. And one of the second thing he told me, he said, man, I know you when you came this morning. You thought I was going to give you some money, didn't you? And I was like, well, yeah, yeah. He said,
Yeah.
nah, look, bro, that'd be too easy. He said, you wouldn't appreciate it if I gave it to you. Of course, my
Mm.
heart sunk. He said, but because when you take all that upfront money, you're going to have to pay on the back end. You keep climbing
Mm.
up that mountain like you climbing, you'll appreciate me one day. I been appreciated. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because what he was saying to me was, man, I could give you $1,000 right now, make you sign some document that say I'm gonna own this for the rest of my life. If you have a big hit record, you're gonna be mad at me, little brother, because you're
Yep.
gonna be done sold all your rights out for a little bit of next to
Yep.
nothing,
Yep.
right? So he was like,
Yep.
no, keep struggling, keep standing there Waffle House parking lot, playing the song out the car speakers and trying to stop black folks. Hey man, y'all give me $5 for one of these. Keep reinvesting in yourself.
Yeah.
So, and that came from, like I said, from just knowing people. So, God will send, he will, what I call manna. He puts that stuff along the way,
Did you say
and I,
manna?
manna. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
yeah. He will put
Yep.
that manna along the way, right? I
Yep.
mean, he'll let you know
Absolutely.
that you're going in the right way. And so, ain't nothing wrong with pinto beans and cornbread. Mama and them show made it a lot of nights on pinto beans and cornbread.
You hear me?
You know what I mean? We made it a long way. So sometimes you can't do no better. You just got to learn how to be content and praise God where you currently sitting at. You feel me?
Exactly. Exactly. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more on that one. I know that you have a new album. Fantastic.
Yes.
You have a
Oh,
new
well, let me
single.
say this. I'm constantly working on the new album comes out in February 2023. But yeah, that's the
Okay.
last album we put out. Fantastic. We also right now, since it's going to holiday season, we got Big Rob's Christmas Party that's out. I also have
Oh,
a
okay.
popcorn manufacturing company called Big Rob Snacks,
Snacks. Yes.
BigRobSnacks.com. So yeah, we
I
trying to
saw
be
that.
inventive. And I'm not lazy, so if you need me to come over there and you know wipe down that wall behind you and adjust the stuff for a small fee, I can hook that up for you too. You feel me? Yes, I'll actually come, and me and
You'll
my
come?
supporters too. Absolutely. If the paycheck is right, I'm on my way tonight.
I,
Please believe me.
I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm definitely gonna hold you to it. Yeah, I did check out Big Rob Snacks. I like that. It's grown and sexy is one of them.
Yeah, we
And
have
what's the
about five
other?
flavors. One is grown
Oh,
and
you
sexy.
got
That's
five. I thought you had three.
no, it's grown and sexy, which is cheddar cheese and caramel. Good,
Yes,
which
that
is
sounds good.
spicy butter and cheese, movie style theater butter. We have one called
Mhm.
Sugar Shack, which is watermelon and apple. We have one called Evidence, which is like Oreos, cookies, and cream. Then there's one called Bang Bang Bang, which is a sweet potato pie one as well. So, but
Okay.
the big sellers are Sugar Shack, Grown and Sexy, and Good. Those are the ones that I know that we gonna always keep in stock. And
Yeah.
I don't make the popcorn at home, so you ain't gonna open up the bag and find no rhinestones or no red feathers in your stuff. It's made at a USDA approved facility, and it's all, and they
Awesome.
come to you, factory seal, vacuum seal, and it's all 100. You know what I mean? Ain't
And
no
you do
funny business
ship.
going on. Oh, absolutely. You just go to the website, BIGGROBB snacks.com. You can order it. And I think if you buy a certain amount of them, you get a free CD or something. And, you know, I mean,
Yep.
all that. It's beautiful. And we sell them at the shows too. And people love it. And it's a very, very great product. I wouldn't put my name on it if I didn't think it was good. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mention my favorite one. It's called the Christmas Remix. And this is vanilla and cinnamon glazed popcorn. It also has glazed pecans in it. So if you like caramel
Oh,
popcorn, oh my
I
goodness,
do.
this one right here, that Big Rob remix, that Christmas remix, it was so good. And once we came up with the formula about 2 years ago, we have to sell it all year round. I just kept Santa Claus on the cover, but we sell it all year round. And
Yeah.
that's my favorite one. And when you get a handful with them glazed pecans in there, oh my goodness.
You got to get the
Yeah.
right, get the combination, get a little piece of
Oh man.
everything.
Little
Party
piece of
in the mouth.
everything. Just like a strong black woman. Got a little get a little piece of everything, baby.
That part right there. That part. So
That
I see
part.
that you named some of the popcorn after some of your songs, like Evidence, Bang Bang Bang. Let's see, what was the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
one that you
Good.
Good Good.
Yeah,
And
grown and
so
sexy.
you now you need to come up with one called Toot It Up.
Tooted Up. Oh my goodness. You know that was a fun record. That was a fun. Did you watch the video for Tooted Up?
I did.
Yeah,
That was a
loving me.
very fun video. All I kept thinking about was like, okay, shotgun, shoot.
And and the reason why that is, and I didn't, and everybody says that. First of all, let me say the man who made Shotgun, his name is Mr. Autry D. Walt, but we all know him as Junior Walker.
Yeah.
Okay, and I am a Junior Walker fan. I love all his great records. Road Runner. Uh, what does it take to win your love? You know what I mean? But of course, Shotgun being the biggest one. But I wanted to do something with that old school Motown beat. And then after I got done with the record, you know what I mean? I was like, man, now I want to do something with some girls that dance like them girls from Bobby Rush. Have you ever seen Bobby Rush, our legendary blues artist? He got some of the
Have I
biggest
ever seen him do what now?
perform.
No, no, I've never seen him perform.
So Bobby Rush has some of the sexiest, finest, thickest, beautifulest black women in the world. Ooh, and they wide hipped it. They just wide. They just
Sound
beautiful
like
and
I may
wide.
have made the
Yeah.
cut.
So I was just thinking like, man, what kind of record if Motown and Bobby Rush got together, what kind of record would they make? And you know what I mean? And so toot it up, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun making the music video. I shot that in Louisville, Kentucky at a good friend of mine, Brother Ben. He has a record store down there. So we was actually in the
Mhm,
record store. It's called Better Days Music. And folks was
mhm.
walking in off the street. So you actually see them in there, the people you see in the video. Yeah,
It looked
that
like
was
it looked like it was a lot of fun.
yes, and
It looked
we
like
went
it
and
was
got
a whole
some.
lot of fun.
And we went and got some of the ladies, and we just made sure that they, they just had fun. The ladies who danced in the video, they,
Mhm.
Miss
That
Lola and
white
them,
couple
they,
was so cute.
oh yeah, oh weren't they? They just wandered in. They just listen. They just wandered in off the street.
Are you
Like what
serious?
y'all? Yeah, they just wandered in off the street. Like what is y'all doing? And we was like making a video, stand right there, and we gonna get y'all in the video too. And they was like, cool. This sounds like great. So yeah. And then when they start doing all that, I was like, oh yeah, we gotta have them in there. So it's a lot of fun, man. And that
I
album you
would have
saw me was
never.
called. All those
Yeah.
songs on the album called Fantastic. And
Mhm,
that's it because people talk about Southern Soul being one of the guys who has helped move it from 2000 to where we at today.
mhm.
Sometimes I just get a little bored with just making the same kind of record because Southern Soul fans, contrary to popular belief, music lovers are music lovers. So when you put a needle on a Big Rob record, you buy a Big Rob record, I don't think you should just have 10 songs that sound like Filling Up or Fill It Up or Grown and Sexy or Good Love to Make You Cry. And I don't want to continue to just repeat myself. But
Right.
I do want to give you something that when you're at the family barbecue, you got, you know what I mean? Or if you need a retrospective moment or introspective moment, a song like Please Don't Judge Me or Mama's
Mhm.
song. You know what I mean? People like a lot of those songs, where we just talking about the spirituality of it. So people
Right.
talk about Southern Soul, but to me, Johnny Taylor, Tyrone Davis, Betty Wright, those people they wasn't making just one type of, they were just making great records. Tonight is the Night
Yep.
rocks in Los Angeles, just like they do in Jackson, Mississippi. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Running Out of Lies or Who's Making Love by Johnny Taylor or Last $2. That stuff is worldwide. And so I'm
Yep.
always challenging myself to try to make records that fit and work for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I love "Fantastic" is the first song on the track, and it's so uplifting. The it's feel good music. It's like, okay, the beat is great, but the lyrics are great, and it's just like, okay, I can start my day with this one. Of course, "Evidence" was like, so, okay, I love the song, watched the video, and I was
Hmm.
like, oh, you guys have
Yeah.
got to go check out the video. It's called Evidence by Big Rob. It's available right now. I checked it out on YouTube. The first probably 30, 45 seconds, you're going to be like, like it's really, 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 really good. Like,
Yeah, that special
I
shout out to my
enjoyed,
and my little sister, and she's if you go back and start watching, like she's in Let's Straighten It Out video, she's in That's My
okay,
Job video, and now she's in that one there, and she's an actress as well. Her name is Tiffany Troutman, and man, she's been around me all her life. It's my little sister. She also sings a lot of the hooks and sings on a lot of the records that I make as well. And but
mhm,
because she's an actress, I'm surrounded by so many talented people. Her and my son are three. They are not just musicians or vocalists; they're also actors and actresses. And
okay,
the craziest thing is when
very
we was making that
talented.
very talented. The craziest thing is we was making that video. We hollered the director hollered cut, and she threw the knife at me after he hollered cut. And I'm like, now look in, almost broke the door in the house. Now, whoa, yeah,
She
like
was in
man,
character.
oh man, we had to put her in a cold shower to get her to come out of character.
Well, I tell you what, she got the point across. So did you. I
And
enjoyed it.
did you figure out what really happened in the video?
Well, I don't want to like for those who haven't watched. Like, I really want them to go see it. So, but I'll tell you without telling too much. Clearly, I knew you was in trouble when I saw you have to get up from the table and leave your plate. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to.
There,
Yeah,
there you go.
he
There
in
you go.
trouble,
There you
and
go. Special
so
shout out to Orbit and Mo and them, boy. They took. I will tell y'all this much. They took them razor blades and brought them up off the camera and brought them on that video screen, man. Yeah, those guys did some fantastic editing, man. It's fantastic editing.
they did that because
Hmm.
it got my attention immediately. So I would venture to say that friends being girlfriends being girlfriends put you in a place in a situation that you really weren't in, or perhaps it was the female who lied
Well,
on you.
the lyrics say, "Girl, you say your sister saw me coming out the Motel 6. And she said she used to work with this woman I'm creeping with. I can tell you right now that's a lie. She's just trying to get in your head. Girl, you know she don't like me. Cause I won't drop these drawers and climb inside her bed and all." That tells you the whole story right there. Just watch the sister and see what the sister end up with.
And the Goodwood lyric got me.
Oh my goodness, that's right. That's right. That's right. Girl, I ain't trying to give up your good wood. And you got to stop listening and believing everything you see on Facebook.
Yep, yep, yep,
So
yep.
y'all go listen to the record. Yeah, I was there's a gentleman who I got to meet one time. His name is Mr. Willie Mitchell. And I'm just believing and giving props to those who have went out and cleared the path for us. Mr. Willie Mitchell, everybody from Memphis calls him Pops. He was the writer and the producer for Seal Johnson and Peebles, but most importantly, the biggest artist he ever had was Al Green.
Mm,
And he was a black man who has a studio down there. His grandsons and his daughters and them still running right now. It's called Royal Studios. And I was like, man, I want a record that feel like some Al Green, O.V. Wright, 1972, when the 40 mom and them had a 45 spinning around. I
yep.
wanted to have something to feel like that. So we got the drums and we just made sure we came up with a groove that was reminiscent of those times. And then I
Mhm.
started telling my story. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That guitar in the end, though. Whew.
That's my main man, brother
Woo-hoo.
Darnell. That's Showcase, and Showcase is Darnell Taylor. Showcase. He was Anthony Hamilton's guitar player, and I met
He
him. He
did
was
that.
playing. Yeah. I was playing. He was playing with Willie Clayton, and I met him. I said, "Hey man, you ever been to the studio?" He said, "Oh man, I do studio stuff all the time." So then, since then, he's been my guitarist on most of 90% of my records. Before then, I just lost my guitarist, who was leader of my band, Mr. Danny Smith, who played on so many great records like Let's Straighten It Out and so many of those great Big Rob records, you know what I mean? But yeah, Brother Showcase, oh, that boy's a bad boy. You know what I mean? I'm in
Yeah.
the studio with him right now, working on a new single for him right now. He's a bad man. He put that. That's what I'm saying. I just try to make records that feel good, you know.
Right.
And
You froze up on me. He, he froze up on me. Maybe he's traveling, so maybe his internet is down or going down right now. Maybe he'll come back to us. Nonetheless, while we wait on him to come back in, make sure you go check out Big Rob Snacks and get you some popcorn, especially for the holidays. He's got the Christmas seasonal special. I think if you buy 2 or 3 bags, I can't remember, you will actually get a CD, free CD, and maybe even a shirt. I'm not 100% sure, but I know for sure about the CD. Also, make sure you check out the single that's released, and by all means the video. Um, Evidence. It's off his his latest album, which is called. Oh, he was here. Let's see. Mm, I don't know. I thought he was here. But anyways, the latest album, fantastic, and also his Christmas album, and of course that's all on his website and on his social media. Not sure, 100% sure what happened. Maybe he will come back, but until he does come back, I want to remind you guys, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook. New artists, I'm really excited about doing some new things or doing some things in the new year with you. New year, new artists, new year, new music. Make sure you hit me up, inbox me. And again, if I have not responded to your inbox, it is not because there he is. It is not because I meant to ignore you. It's just that I've just kind of been busy, but I promise you I will definitely get around to messaging you back. He is back right now. And
yeah,
I had to hold
you
it
asked
down.
so many good questions.
I'm sorry.
You asked so many great questions.
Well, thank you. But the best part is yet to come. We're about to do plead the fifth.
Oh boy,
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so anything you absolutely do not want to answer, you can just plead the fifth and I'll move right along, okay?
Wait a minute, hold on. You said plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what do I need to go get me a fifth or something before we plead the fifth? No, listen.
You might know. I don't have any, so you can't have none either. We go roll with it.
If my
All right?
glass is looking kind of empty, fill it up. Or shall I say, if I get drunk tonight, somebody please make sure I get home. Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Um,
Keita, I got a question.
just thought about something, but I'll ask you that another time. All right, so
Okay,
here we go. First question.
but hold on, Keita, I got a question for you.
Okay.
For a 55-year-old plus size African American male,
Mm-hmm.
I still look pretty good, don't I?
You and do and absolutely
Mm,
do. Let me see. Let me
got
see.
that
You
little
see
salt
that
and pepper
gray?
down there, oh boy.
That gray right there adds to your sexy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got the
Okay.
piece of chain.
Oh my goodness. All right. Okay.
All right, yeah.
All right.
You got a good thing going on, Big Rob. Grown
Yeah.
and sexy.
I just caught a look at the best looking fat man in show business. I just had to make sure. Cause you've been hitting them so hard with so much heavy information in this interview. It's more like it's a documentary. You know what I mean? But it's all
I'm
good.
sorry. I just know you have a large fan base, and I always
Hey
try to give you
man,
guys
look here.
information I know you value.
I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. I can't feed my family without them. So no, I appreciate the questions because I really appreciate the fact that you take the time to research your subjects before you sit down with them. You know what I mean? And yeah, before we went blank, I was in the middle of saying, even though people see me on the stage wearing onesies and they see me wearing all these bright colors and all these costumes and stuff, The biggest unsung thing about Big Rob is that I am a recording engineer, I'm the producer, I'm the songwriter, and all that. So, and I make records from the beginning. Like I don't go buy no loops and no beats and stuff from people. So when you hear bass line, that's cause I hum the bass line. Either I picked up got in front of the keyboard and stayed all night. Doom, doom. No, that's wrong. Doom, 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 doom. And I make the beats. You know what I mean? I do that. I mix all my own records. And I was forced to do that because when I first started, there was not one record company who believed in a fat guy who had the vision that I had. Even going around with, being around the world with Roger and all them, the
Mm-hmm.
music industry was not set up for guys who look like me. And then
Mm-hmm.
they said I didn't have enough talent. Man, you don't sound like Charlie Wilson. Get out of here. You ain't skinny as Usher. Get out of here. Man, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You ain't got the swag that Teddy Riley got. Get out of here. So I was
Mm-hmm.
forced to have to keep on going. And, so let me just share that with folks. So yeah, all the records, like I said, ain't nobody, I'm the producer of the records. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I'm just saying I write them, perform them, produce them. You know what I mean? And it's a gift that God gave me. I have an artist named Toya Jones. I did a record with her called You Can Get It, Get It, Get It. Another one called Sleeping with the Enemy. And I write
Mm-hmm.
these songs. You know what I mean? I have a team of very, very talented musicians, who help me. And
Mm-hmm.
who I call at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yo, KC, yeah, I'm asleep. Wake up, man. I need some chords right here. Okay, cat. Meet me at the studio in 6 minutes. You know what I mean? And so we
Yeah.
do that. But I've
Mm-hmm.
been very, very blessed, to have a team. God will send you what he was saying, but I wanted to share that because it may be some young brother or sister out there who's feeling dejected right now because no record company or nobody wants to sign them up. And I don't want you guys to quit just because they say you don't fit in the mold. That's why I
Right.
say I'm 55 years old. I still look pretty good for my age.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? And we out here trying to get it. And you can get
Mm-hmm.
it too. So now I'm ready to plead the
Mm-hmm.
fifth.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. Plead the fifth on whichever. When you plead the fifth, I'm done. But the goal is to get you to plead the fifth. So here you go. Here's question number one.
Hmm,
Okay, so one of the lyrics in your one of
hmm.
the lyrics in your song, "Toot It Up." In that lyric, you say, "I want some of that baby, and I'm willing to pay for what I want." So, I no judgment zone. They say it ain't tricking if you got it, but how much would Big Rob pay for somebody to toot it up? What's the
Hold on.
dollar amount?
Hey, baby. The lady just asked me a question. She said, one of my lyrics in my song said, I ain't willing to pay for what I want. Right? And she said that the people in the street say it ain't tricking if you got it. So she wants to know how much am I willing to pay to get a woman to toot it up? And I
You
was
gonna
going
get
to
me
ask
in
you how
trouble.
I was going to ask you how much that new stove, refrigerator, and them car payments that I be trying to help my baby pay. Yeah. So you say, am I willing to pay for it?
So
Man,
pretty
please.
penny.
And my wife just said,
I
yeah. She
heard
got
her.
one. She got a nice stove and refrigerator. I mean, she got one. When you open up the refrigerator,
Yeah.
the light the light is a lighted bulb inside there. I grew up in the projects, wasn't no light bulb in there. We had to take the light bulb out of the refrigerator and put it in the living room. What's your next question, girl?
Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. So at age 15, I know you've been around for a while, Bootsy Collins,
Yeah,
and you said that he made you, I know he did a lot of funkadelic music, and you said he made you promise not to do drugs. Have you kept
yes.
good on the promise since 15 to now?
Oh, excuse me, absolutely. Yeah, I ain't fooling with that
Okay.
dope, man. They can miss me with that. I
Okay.
despise it. I ain't with that. No. Hell no. I don't fool with that now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I used to.
Well, I
I
just had
don't.
to. You
Let,
had to ask.
well, no. Let me say this. I grew up in the time and energy, so yeah, that's not one of my things. I'm not hating on people who do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm just not into it now. I do drink alcohol, and it's a drug. But what I found out is that the biggest drug that we all addicted to is sugar, salt, and grease. And if you don't think you like those three things, then next time you go to McDonald's and get them hot fries that come out in that bag and that bag sitting next to you, you can't stop reaching in there. You
Right.
want that. You want them fries, right? You want
You
them
want
fries.
that
So no,
salt.
don't.
Yeah.
You want that, and and sweet potato pie. I mean, my goodness, man, Lord have mercy, candy yams, banana pudding. I mean, we try to do it in moderation, but those are the biggest drugs. But as far as all that other stuff, no, no, no. And that's what Bootsy. Not only he didn't just tell me that, but he showed me he brandished a weapon. I'll leave him. I mean, I don't want to get him. Just put him up, but he brandished a weapon, and pretty
Hmm.
much told me, if I catch you fooling with some drugs, youngster, your ass is mine, and I'm gonna put this pistol on
Gotcha.
you. I said,
Stay
got it,
away.
man. Yes, sir. Got it. Stay away. And that's
Right.
a heck of a thing. Uh, and just special shout out to him, all the guys in the rubber band. Just special shout out to all the OGs from my neighborhood. I gotta
Hmm.
tell you this. I grew up in, all the guys that I was around trying to learn how to play music. No one ever, ever, ever tried to get me to snort no cocaine,
Good.
smoke no reefer, put no needle in my arm, none of that. You know what I mean? None of that. As a matter of fact, even some of the guys who were doing that, it's a guy by the name of Frankie Cash Waddy who was Bootsy's drummer. He came to me one time. He said, "Look, brother, I mean, they all this Tiger Martin, all these guys, Catfish Collins. I mean, these guys are legendary guys if you Google their name. Never, ever, ever, never, ever. And the Troutman family. Oh no, man, you'd rather get you, man, please. Growing up in that
Yeah.
world, Zap world. Oh no, Lord have mercy. Nah, nah. So
Yeah.
no drugs.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna move on to question three. Is
Mhm.
there a song out there right now that, regardless of what genre, don't even matter, that you absolutely hate to hear? You hate to hear it come on radio. You don't want to play it. You don't want to hear it.
Nah, nah. Because not one. There's a lot of my love though. You know what I mean? There's a lot of my
Hmm.
love. I love King George. Keep on rolling. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I love all the stuff I hear him doing. Man, if it's a bunch of music I love, but
Hmm.
not that I just because I'm a music lover. So in any given time, I can go from listening to symphony music and classical music to listening
Hmm.
to some straight old school blues. I'm talking about little Howlin' Wolf and a gentleman by the name of Clarence Gatemouth Brown. I mean, I can listen. I love country music, so I listen to Johnny Paycheck, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings.
Hmm.
Nah, nah. Now
Okay.
I'm trying to remember when's the last time I just heard a song that I was like, man, that there just cut that bullshit off. Nah, I don't. None really comes to mind.
Okay. Good. Okay. Cool. So tell me about Kim.
Her kisses. Hey man, her kisses were sweet. You know, what I mean, her kisses were sweet. Who Kim is, ladies and gentlemen? I was teasing with Keita off the camera, and told her about the first girl I ever kissed. I was 4 years old. The Jackson 5 song was called I Found That Girl. Mama, life for me now is a new sensation, just like you said it would be. It was probably the summer of 1971. And
Hmm.
she
Oh, you
was,
remember the date, the
hey man,
year?
look here, when you have such a monumental thing like that, and man, please, man, she was 9, I was 4.5, and I gave her my only quarter instead of buying Bub's Daddy bubblegum and Jolly Ranchers, which we used to call in Cincinnati wine candy, and lemon heads and red hots, and a quarter would have bought a whole lot of lemon heads and red hots. I traded my 25 cents for one little smoocher right there, and
Oh.
she kissed me, and then I found out that the lower part of my body works. I had more than knees and ankles below my stomach.
What's happening?
Daddy, what boy? Daddy, something. I don't know. I kissed that girl. You did what? No. And then yeah. And then my grandmother, and then I got so good with it and I ran out of quarters. So then I started trying to, I started to beg and borrow. You know how most of these guys do. Like you say, it ain't tricking if you got it. I sure didn't have it.
Right.
Okay. I do. When I get a quarter, I'll give you one. I give it. You know what I mean? Can I get 2 kisses with a
Yeah.
quarter? But yeah, and absolutely. And so ever since I got here, I've been addicted to the beautifulness of the African female. I just think you guys are just some of the most beautiful the most beauty is just beauty. You know what I mean? God designed you and all females in general, but man, the African man is just you guys' as features, the way y'all throw y'all hair from side to side, the way y'all hold y'all hands, the way y'all split verbs and mix pronouns and nouns and adverbs and adjectives together. It's just beautiful,
Yeah.
man. I just love it. You know what I mean? I just love it.
Well, we thank you for that compliment, for sure, for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not always the easiest role to play being a black woman, but we do it, and we do it with pride. And I can't think of anything I'd rather be than a black woman.
Hey,
So
man.
my
Well,
last question to you.
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying, my
Last question
daughter's a
to
black
you.
woman. My mama was a black woman. My sisters, my aunties, all them, and I love y'all. And man, especially the ones of you all who've learned how to take the ham hocks out them greens and pinto beans and replace it with some smoked turkey necks and some all that. Oh,
Yeah,
I love you.
yeah, yeah. Well, I can't even pretend that I'm the cook that does that, but I know what you're talking about. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean I cook, but I don't cook that, like that right there. So
Well,
my last question to you.
okay, go ahead, and then I'm gonna have one
No, no, I want to
for
hear what you
you.
about to say. What you about to say?
Well, I'm gonna ask you, as beautiful as you are, okay, with that melanin popping and those eyebrows and just your charming smile and as fast and as vast as your mind and your gifts allow you to be, is it true that there's a man somewhere right now who was willing to beat the living daylights out of another man just to stand next to you?
Yes. You
Okay.
notice I said that without hesitation.
Yes, I can believe that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Even though she can't cook, fellas.
No, I didn't say I can't cook. I
There's
just
still a man
can't.
somewhere that just want to be with her even though she can't cook. Can you make
I tell you
bologna
what,
sandwiches?
he won't go hungry. No, I do pretty good. Like actually, yesterday I made smothered steak. Okay.
Oh.
I do a little something, something, but I'm more of a casserole girl. Like I can a casserole. Pick me. I bring the
Well, see,
casserole.
see, growing up in the hood, we didn't have no casserole dishes. Mama had one square pan, and so the same pan that everybody else made casseroles in, she baked a cake in it. She made cornbread. And matter of fact, she didn't make cornbread. She made all that stuff in the cast iron skillet. It's
Yes,
amazing. It's
and
amazing what you do. You know how to make a cast iron skillet non-stick, baby? Get you some butter and melt it in. Oh, okay, that's a whole different episode. Yeah,
I also know how to season the cast iron skillet. How to like you put your grease in there and you put it in the oven or whatever, and it kind of I
absolutely.
don't know if it bakes in there. I'm not a chemist, but my grandmother, my mom, and great grandmother were. So I've seen them do that. And after washing it, you have to oil it and all that. Whole lot of
That's
care for
right.
me. I'm
That's
low
that,
maintenance.
well, that's right. Well, I mean, I had somebody spend the night in my house one time, and we cooked in the cast iron skillet. And they said, "Oh, don't you put that in no water?" I said, "What do you mean? How we gonna get it clean?" "Oh, you can't put a cast iron skillet in water." I said, "Oh, you can put mine in there because mine is already pre-seasoned. It's all good." I said, "But the key to it," and I
Mhm.
showed them what the key was. That when you take that cast iron skillet out, you dry it out. You don't just let that water
Mhm.
sit in there. You dry it out, and then after every now and then, yes, you do have to get your little oil and put it in there and put it in the oven, 350, 400 degrees, let it bake on in there,
Mhm.
just reseal it. But don't nothing cook like a cast iron skillet, and don't nothing love like a strong black woman. What's your last
That part.
question?
That part. Okay. Speaking of strong black woman, have you ever dated a white woman or a woman of another ethnicity?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, I haven't. I mean, it's not that, I'm all 100% all boy, but I
Mhm.
have the love of my life, and I write songs about her all the time. On this last album, the song says, "Praise God, Hallelujah." I got a good one. I got a woman who has been with me when she had to go to work and sell hamburgers and French fries and feed our
Mhm.
family. I got a
Mhm.
woman that's been with me that when I was not making a dime and my payroll checks was bouncing, that she fed me and my friends and the band. I got a woman that's been with me who worked for 12 or 18 hours a day and then come home and stay up 6 more hours
Mhm.
and make sure her family is good. Sold
Yeah.
the outfits and do all that stuff. So I mean, my eyes are kind of transfixed on the one that I'm with. Plus, I learned at an early age that that wouldn't work for me because I'm such an honest guy that if I was a cheater or a creeper and you come and say, "Hey, are you sleeping with Beyonce and Keita?" I'm like, "Sure is." Yep, sure am. Because I ain't got time for all drama. Y'all figured, yeah, I did it. So no, I haven't. I haven't. I mean, I haven't. Praise God. God sent me somebody in my life, which will
That's
all be
great.
in my book. And He sent somebody to me that feels that need, physical, spiritually, and
Hmm.
I mean, now that's not to say that we don't have problems. In my
Yeah.
house, there's a bedroom and there's a couch, and I spend plenty of time on the couch. Yeah, because y'all can already tell, what I mean, I'm a hyped up guy, what I'm saying? But she loved it when I
Right.
wake up in the morning, I got on one blue sock and one green sock, and I'm just happy as a lark.
Yeah.
She doesn't, she accepts me how I am, you know what I mean? So,
That's a beautiful
nah.
thing. That's a beautiful thing. Well, shout out to your
Well, I
wife.
mean, yes, ma'am, can you suggest, I mean, is there some, I mean, do you suggest I call up Khloe Kardashian right now, or Kris Jenner, or what about Barbara
No,
Streisand?
no, Barbara Streisand. No, I think you got
Liza
a good
Minnelli?
thing
I
going
don't know.
on. I would just
Yeah.
stick. I would just stick to what you got going on. It's probably
Hmm.
safer for you. I don't know if it how
I
well it
like that
would.
word safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that word safe. And let me just say this: I do have I do have a list I've been compiling over the years. That
Oh.
if my baby decides to get rid of me,
Hmm.
let me just say, Keita, that you just went after talking. You just went from 96 to you're now in the top four. After
Yes.
Whoopi Goldberg, Janet Jackson, Jill Scott, then there's Keita King. I'm coming for y'all. If she put me out the house for too long,
I love it.
I'm coming. I'll be
I
over there
love
getting me
it.
some smothered steak. Yes.
Yes, you may have to have it a few times a week, but hey, it's
Well,
okay.
hey
It's
man, okay. Now, are you cooking it from fresh, or are you just making one big batch and then we putting it in the microwave?
No, I would actually cook it fresh. Like I don't even have any more left. It was really good. I ate it. It's just me here, so I ate it for 2 days, and I was like, gosh, I really wish I had some more. But I made the gravy from scratch, no packaged gravy.
Okay, so what's your format? How you make gravy, babe?
Okay,
How do you
so
make gravy?
I take a little bit of the grease from the cutlet that I use or chicken, whatever it
Hmm.
is that I'm cooking, and I put it in the skillet and I add some flour to it. But
Hmm.
typically keep the flour that I season my meat with and
Hmm.
use it because it's already seasoned. And I brown it until it gets brown. I put onion in it. Depending on what I'm cooking, I may put some beef stock in it. I may put some chicken stock in it. It just depends on what I'm cooking. And that's pretty much it. Black pepper.
Okay, well, you
Hey,
sound like you sound like you know what you're doing, babe.
yeah, for
Yeah, you
that,
sound
I just can't
you.
cook. I can't cook things like dressing and greens and peas and
Greens is the easiest one in the world to cook. People mess greens up all the time. They're easy to cook. Because
I leave
that's
it to
my
my mom.
that's my little side passion. I like to cook, and so
Okay.
greens are very easy to cook. The key to greens is getting you some fresh greens, and it
Hmm.
starts. I'll just tell you this: starting with greens starts when you go to wherever you're gonna get them at the grocery store. Try to find your fresh market. And when you reach over,
Okay.
you touch them greens while they laying in them bunches, and you put one or two or three of them leaves, dig in there, and touch them leaves and rub them like that, and
Hmm.
look at your fingers and take your fingers off and see. Because what you don't want to pick up gritty greens, because gritty greens with sand, dirt, whatever's on them, just a whole lot harder to clean. It's not impossible to
Okay.
clean them. It's just more work for you, right?
Hmm.
But then once you get the greens, you get some greens, and hopefully they're not too dirty. And you take them, go and get them and pick them and put them in the sink and wash them. Maybe we'll do a tutorial one day on how to cook greens. And the key to greens is seasoning your water and then cooking them, and
Hmm.
cook them with the lid off. Now, if you're
Oh,
cooking
okay.
collard greens, they take a lot longer to cook, and
Hmm.
you may want to put the lid on them to get them a little bit more tender. Because if you cook your greens with the lid on top of them, they will get mushy as hell, kind of like canned spinach. You know what I mean? Where it's just,
Oh, okay.
it's like, yeah. But a lot of people make that mistake. But unless you like your
Hmm.
greens like that. But I like my greens the way grandmama and them made them. And the only big
Right.
misconception about cooking greens to me was I remember being a little boy on Saturday evening, grandmama and them would pick the greens and they would cook them and they'd have them on the stove simmering kind of all night. So I
Hmm.
thought. I didn't realize they cooked them for maybe 2.5, 3 hours. And then they cut them off and then just let them cool down. Then the next day before we ate, they would start warming them up. I thought you had to cook greens for 15 hours.
All
Right.
night.
That wasn't what it was. But yeah, yes, ma'am. Maybe we'll do a cooking show one day. And yeah.
By all means, by all means.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving because my mom and the other cooks in the family,
Is
they're
your
gonna.
mama single?
She
Huh?
is.
How
She
you
is.
doing, mama? Mama Miss Keita, how you doing?
Her name is
How you doing,
Marilyn.
baby? Yeah. Oh,
She is
Miss
a great
Marilyn.
cook.
Marilyn McCool, the lady off of Solid Gold. That's your mama. Solid Gold lady. Fifth Dimension lady.
She is an excellent cook, and she is one of my biggest supporters. Hey, Mama, love you. But she's gonna be cooking this
Hey,
holiday
Mama King.
season. I used to get to cook the pecan pie. They took that from me this year.
Mm.
So
Why?
yeah, another story for another time. But anyway, so I get to make we do our own like cranberry sauce, like a mold or whatever. So I get to make that this
Mm-hmm.
year. It's fine.
Oh, wow.
I don't think about it.
Well, I have a good friend of mine that makes cranberry sauce. And no
Hmm.
matter what, he's never messed it up. And I just want to give special shout out to my good friend, Ocean Spray. Open that can up, take that butter knife around the side of it, do it like that about 2 times on a plate, and cut that thing up. Man, please. Oh,
Listen,
oh.
once I get with my cousins, they better catch me early. Once I get with my cousins and we get to cutting up,
Mm-hmm.
it may just be some ocean spray. I think I'm gonna get me some and just have it on standby just in case I don't get to make it in the kitchen. Before Jack.
Only thing I tell you is go today or tomorrow and go on and get you something. You don't do nothing but put it in
You
the trunk of
sure
the
right.
car. Because, boy, about 2 days before Thanksgiving, you are not going to be able to find any
Right.
sage and you're not going to be able to find any cranberry. Now, trust the fat man when I tell y'all this. I know what I'm talking about. You're not going to be able to
Pie
find
crust
no
too.
sage. Oh, I started collecting them 2 months ago. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because I
Mhm.
don't eat pork. So the only one that I eat is Marie Callender's because it don't have no lard in it. So I went and got
Okay.
that Marie Callender's. Oh, yeah. We got about
That's good
6 of
to
them.
know.
Yeah. We went and got about 6 of them, and we put them up way, way, way in the back. The deep freeze. Yeah, because you don't want to mess around and not end up without no pie crust. Pie crust,
Right.
sage, and cranberry sauce. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Go get it, guys. And the
Yeah,
last
they
time I
go, they
think
go,
that's
they
what.
go, they. Yeah, they gonna have
Huh?
plenty of Hennessy. They gonna have plenty of Hennessy, plenty of Ciroc, plenty of Douce. They ain't gonna run out of that. But I can tell you
No.
what, you ain't gonna. You don't nobody want no damn dressing without no sage in it. That ain't nothing but cornbread.
But yeah, make sure you get to the stores. I messed around and forgot one year to go get a pie crust and try to make one homemade.
Mm-mm.
And again, another story for another time. It turned out more or less like cake. Nonetheless, don't be me. Just go get your pie crust. B Rob, it's been amazing talking to you.
Man, we done burnt up hard drives and everything, and I know we could do this all along. Maybe we come back and do it in 6 months if the Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. And just thank you, man, for giving me the opportunity. How long did you talk to Calvin?
How long did I talk to I don't remember. It was right at an hour if it wasn't an hour because
Okay.
we would get to clean up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
really it's hard to, and I'm working on that, but it's hard to when the energy is flowing and the conversation is flowing and as an interviewer, the interviewee pulls on me sometimes. You know what I mean? Like when I say pull on me, that's in the best way. It's like the energy, it pulls an energy from me, and it's just like, okay, now I need to know this, and now I need to know that, and the conversation flows. But yeah, let's see. I think my longest interview was probably my first one, which was with Jeter, but that was in person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm working on. It's just hard because I'm a talker, gift of
Mm-hmm.
gab, and one of the blessings that God gave me, in school I used to get in trouble for talking.
Oh, wow. You too,
Oh
huh?
yeah.
I
Yeah.
got I got in trouble. I got in trouble fighting, for talking, and for looking under the little girls' dresses.
That Kim did a number on you, didn't she?
Hey man, it wasn't just Kim, but then it was Lisa, then it was Tracy, then it was Stephanie, then it was, you know what I mean? No, I was what the old folks called mannish. I just was a bad little boy, you know what I mean? It was,
Managed.
I
Yep.
was yeah, and special shout out to all the plus size guys, because I was at the clothing store the other day and the guy said, "Well, man, this is a some kind of cut," and I said, "What?" He said, "Some funny name for it." What it meant is that the suit fit fat guys like me, right? And I said, man, when I was little, I said, man, they used to have a word they used to call us. And he said, yes, husky. So
Husky.
special shout out to all my husky fellas out there. We done come a long way. We in style, big guys in style. Let's get ready for 2023. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's y'all season. It's
Oh my
cuffing
goodness,
season.
baby. Oh my goodness, man. Well, you need to hold on us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, cause big men, we ain't got no problem doing what it is that we're supposed to do. You know what I
I
mean?
hear
We don't have a
you.
problem with that. So special shout. Matter of fact, I got a song called "Come and Get You Some Big Man Love."
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
come get some. Come on, follow me home. You be so happy. Got 2 or 3